Welcome to Work This Way, a labor and employment podcast. I'm Tina Emerson, here today with Maynard Nexon labor and employment lawyer Keely Fresh. Great to see you again, Keely.
Hi, Tina.
So we are coming to you from Greenville SHRM's 2026 HR and Leadership Conference, where local HR and employment professionals are gathered for insightful sessions with expert speakers, and they have a country and western theme, as you can see here. Today we're joined by Cassie Thompson. She's Director of People Operations for Red Rover and a member of the SHRM Board of Directors. Cassie presented at the conference with her session, Kicking Up Dust with Laughter, Leading Better Along the Way. Cassie, thanks for taking time to talk to us today.
Absolutely. Super glad to be able to do it.
Well, to get us started, let's talk a little bit about your background and how you came to explore humor in the workplace as part of effective leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, HR was something I sort of stumbled into, so not something that I thought my career would be about. Actually, I got my master's in communication and acting, and I think part of communication is knowing the different elements of speech and learning to kind of bring in, and humor was one of those elements that performs well, whether you're on stage or in person as a leadership. So it's been one of those skills that I just got to sort of use along the way before I realized truly how powerful it was.
Communication is definitely important. Have you seen in your experience how laughter might change the conversation when it's difficult? For example, performance evaluations that might not necessarily be going well?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you have to be careful. So one of the best places for humor is in tense situations to ease, to help people feel a little bit more secure. Now, a performance evaluation is one of those times where you have to be very careful, but if you're able to make some sort of joke or even a lighthearted comment like, I know neither one of us are probably having the best time in this conversation right now, but I'm only having that conversation because I care deeply about you, and I would love for us to try to partner on what that looks like moving forward. So if you'll work with me, I'll work with you, and we will get through this together. Just something more lighthearted, more than even just a joke, can go a long way.
Yeah. And when using that humor, you kind of have to know where the line is, right? I love a good joke as much as anybody else, but what advice could you give leaders about using humor that makes people feel included and like they belong, and as opposed to potentially offending someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're exactly right. People want to feel like they're part of the joke. They're not the butt of the joke. So jokes that focus on an individual or who focus on, a mistake that somebody else has made is almost never going to be a good idea. Where you want to focus is in shared experiences, truth, reality. Things go wrong, mistakes, awkwardness, other things that we can kind of all draw attention to. If you're freezing cold in a room, then you make a joke about the temperature. If you're really hot outside, you do the same thing. And those shared experiences where we all kind of chuckle together is one of the best ways to try to use humor in a way that doesn't target someone unnecessarily.
So pulling for material, things like that. A lot of times, like for example, you said maybe it's hot outside, maybe it's cold in the room, but most workers are now remote. How could supervisors or someone attempting to break the ice still be able to use humor, even though they may not be able to rely on in-person things or body language or just a general feel?
Yeah, body language is one of those things that I miss the most. Actually, my current position is 100% remote. And so not being able to read that body language is something I'm still adjusting to. But I would say that one of the benefits of maybe doing things in writing is being able to think a little bit more about what you're saying. We have the most amazing chats at my job where we'll have a live Zoom meeting going, and then the chat is just going with all these funny comments, people picking up on things that were said that were humorous and making jokes off of them. So there is still an element of reading the vibe of the room and leaning into it and enjoying the observations other people are making. I think in a one-on-one environment, it's a little bit easier to, if you have your camera on, to still read. At the end of the day, if you are relying on those tried and true tricks for humor and making sure that you're not crossing lines, you're going to, let's say, you're going to hit more balls than you miss in terms of making those jokes.
And you're giving great advice on how to get it right. What happens when you get it wrong? What's your recourse? How do you can't walk it back once it's been in a text?
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, we recall the message, but unfortunately that really usually doesn't work in today's digital world. Humility. So the best humor comes from a humble heart anyway, with laughing at yourself, recognizing that you make mistakes. So my answer to that would be, in the few times that I've realized somehow I've crossed the line or done something that's offended someone, is going to them with a genuine heart and apologizing and making sure that you set that right between them. That helps to rebuild the trust that exists there. If it was done in a very public way, apologizing in a very public way so that you're able to rebuild that trust that may have been lost.
And what would you tell leaders who are afraid to use humor because they don't know where it's going to land or how it's going to land? If they think it's going to hurt their credibility somehow by becoming more friendly with an employee than they feel like they need to be.
Yeah. I would say that there's no industry that doesn't have tools that are dangerous. So whether it's, a nail gun or a hammer or a mandolin or whatever it is that you're using, sharp knives in the kitchen, there is potential for harm. That doesn't mean those tools are evil or that we shouldn't use them. We just have to know how to use them correctly. The data shows if you use them correctly, that leaders are enhancing their credibility, they're enhancing their motivation capability, they are being more engaged and approachable to their staff members. So it's a tool that has such great benefits. I would encourage every leader that they're making sure that they're using it so that they're not letting something really powerful sit by the side.
And really, if they don't use it, wouldn't you say, Keely, that if you don't use it, you're not making real connections sometimes with your employees? You're missing an opportunity.
Yes, a huge opportunity.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. That is very insightful, and I don't think people think about using humor in the workplace very much.
That is a strategic tool, yeah.
It is. So thank you so much for joining us and for educating us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Sure. We'll see you next time on Work This Way.